There have been 24 actresses over the almost 100-year history of the Oscars that have been nominated for Best Actress, where they played a Sapphic character. It's quite fascinating to see the kinds of Sapphic roles that were nominated and the kind of representation they offered through the years, so let's dive into them. And at the end, I'll reveal the 5 times the actors weren't just nominated, but actually won the Golden Statue. The first Best Actress nomination where said actress was playing a Sapphic character was only a few years after the Academy Awards began, and the year was 1930. While that might seem surprising, it's because it was before the pernicious Hays Code was enforced in 1932 that coincided with the Catholic Church backlash to indecent and provocative films. It was actor Marlene Dietrich for her role of Mademoiselle Amy Joly in the film Morocco, of which the most enduring and memorable moment of the film is when Amy, dressed in drag for a performance, singles out a girl in the crowd and as part of the performance kisses her. This was groundbreaking not only for the kiss, but the fact that Amy was dressed in pants, which in some places was illegal for women at the time. There wasn't any further Sapphic storyline other than that moment, and crucially there didn't appear to be any judgment about it or repercussions to the character. What makes this even better is that Marlene Dietrich was bisexual, involved in the queer community of the day, and was known to enjoy a good drag show. It would take 43 years before another Sapphic character got nominated. This was with the 47th award show when the actor Valerie Perrin was nominated for playing Honey Bruce in the movie Lenny in 1974, some 6 years after the Hays Code was officially ended. The effect of the Hays Code sure left its mark. Lenny is the biopic of Lenny Bruce, a controversial comic of the 1960s who was put on trial for his so-called obscene sets that didn't shy away from controversial topics and used foul language. Lenny married a woman called Honey who I saw described as a stripper, drug addict and bisexual, and it seemed he struggled with his wife's sexuality, using it as the butt of some nasty jokes. From the clips I saw of the movie, it looks like she is framed as a tragic character that elicits sympathy at the hands of a narcissistic husband, which for bisexual representation was not the norm. They were often depicted as sexually promiscuous and, well, evil. So all in all, I guess, not bad. Especially as she is not the one who dies at the end of the film, another unfortunate Sapphic trope we will contend with today. In all likelihood, she survived because she was based on a real-life person who not only outlived Lenny, but became a published author when she wrote a memoir. Now, this next one was not on my bingo card, but it seems that Bette Midler, all the way back in 1979, was nominated for playing a bisexual character called Rose. It follows the story of a self-destructive rock star as she struggles with fame, drugs, and a manager who wants to extract everything he can from her. It's loosely based on Janis Joplin's life, and it has, since her death, come out that she was bisexual. So, again, this is influenced by real-life events. Rose's sexuality doesn't seem to play a major part of the movie, although she has, I have read, a brief love triangle with a woman called Sarah and the main love interest. Unfortunately for those who know about Janis Joplin, things don't end well for her. The next actress to get nominated, Vanessa Redgrave, is an actress who played gay quite a few times in her career and appears in a movie where the Sapphic element is much more pronounced in The Bostonians. This is based off a novel, and it primarily revolves around another love triangle with a man who is a lawyer from the South and a Boston feminist who vies for the affection of a young woman. Given the date of this movie, you can guess it's not a happy ending. However, it's clear that both women have a tender love for each other, and it explores Sapphic love in a more in-depth way than the previous entries on this list. Ultimately, it doesn't end with them together, but also neither do they die, so there is that. This film is available on Tubi for free in the US and Canada, possibly other places where Tubi is available too. I use Nord VPN because it has a large array of servers worldwide, has one of, if not the fastest connection, has amongst the highest safety protocols, and I've used their customer service when my connection was lagging, and they guided me through the troubleshooting, no problem. I have a link in the description if you're interested. Whoopi Goldberg got nominated for the first Black Sapphic character in 1985 with The Color Purple, where the lead, Celie, is shown to fall for a woman. It follows the life of a girl in the south of the US as she grows into womanhood, is married off at a young age, subjected to racism and intense mental and physical abuse. One of the few kindnesses Celie experiences in her life is with a singer, and though it is never given a name, it is clear that Celie falls for her. The book it is based on is more explicit with the Sapphic themes. In the movie, we get a kiss, and the Sapphic element ultimately plays a small but pivotal part. It is the most positive representation thus far on this list, and framed as a tender and warm respite for the awful things Celie has had to endure in her life. A decent gap, and it was 2001 before another nomination, this time for Judi Dench. So continues the trend of these Sapphic characters being based either on a book or on a real-life woman, with the movie Iris looking at the real-life novelist Iris Murdoch as Alzheimer's takes hold. As her husband comes to grips with caring for her in her decline, we see flashbacks when she was a young adult and the woman she was when he fell in love with her. In these flashbacks, her bisexuality is openly discussed between them, and it is not framed as a negative thing. I don't, from memory, remember there being anything depicted on screen beyond the references to how she has slept with women. Salma Hayek was nominated for her portrayal of the renowned artist Frida Kahlo in the 2002 movie Frida, that looks at her life as she overcomes a crippling injury and her tempestuous relationship with her husband to create her iconic body of artwork. Frida is a Sapphic, and this is reflected in the film, most notably with a sensual dance that I think many will agree is the most memorable moment of the entire film. There was another nomination that year for a real-life Sapphic character that I'll discuss at the end of the film, since the actress actually won the Oscar, and lo and behold, the following year in 2003, yet another real-life Sapphic character had her story adapted into a film, and the actress who played her also won. The early 2000s saw a surge in visibility, although like most of the entries so far, it involves these Sapphic characters having a tough life, and not infrequently having mental illness issues that tap into the unfortunate crazy lesbian trope, which tracks with the next nomination for Judi Dench once again, who plays a lesbian in the movie Notes on a Scandal in 2006. A senior member of staff at a school, Barbara befriends the new arts teacher Sheba, for whom she develops feelings and even dares to hope that these feelings might be returned. Her hopes are shattered when she discovers Sheba having an affair with her 15-year-old student, something she then uses to blackmail Sheba because it seems her sublimated Sapphic longings have twisted themselves into something quite ugly and perhaps a little unhinged. It took until 2010 before we got an actress nominated for a Sapphic role where the Sapphic character was having something approaching a good time in the form of The Kids Are All Right with Annette Bening's performance. This movie also got nominated for Best Picture, so I covered this entry in my companion video the other week. It's about a family where the kids want to meet their sperm donor and where one of the mums ends up sleeping with a sperm donor because she's feeling neglected by her wife, the fallout of which forces the two women to face some things about their marriage. So yes, it unfortunately involves the ever-annoying lesbian sleeping with a man trope that I am not at all partial to, although it also is the first nomination where it depicts a relatively normal, everyday kind of family that just happens to have two mums, so it's noteworthy on that level. The following year, we saw The Girl with the Dragon Tattoo with Rooney Mara nominated for her leading role as Lisbeth, who is a hacker helping a journalist find a woman who has been missing for 40 years. Lisbeth is bisexual, and we get a brief glimpse of that, but as far as I know, it isn't explored beyond that. Let's just say it's not a good time for Lisbeth. She's had a rough past and is then sexually assaulted, although I guess it's some kind of cold comfort that she gets her own back. Far less distressing is Cate Blanchett's nomination for Best Actress for Carol in 2015, which of course has Rooney Mara as the love interest. This film, I feel, needs no introduction because it's already a classic. Set in the 1950s, it's about how Therese meets Carol, a mysterious, elegant older woman, and develops a passionate affair with her, although she is married and going through a difficult divorce. It's a beautifully shot, artful film, one of the only straight-up love stories on this list, with a slightly ambiguous but ultimately happy ending, and for that reason alone it stands out amongst this list. Melissa McCarthy got a nomination for playing gay in 2018 in the film Can You Forgive Me? It's based on a true story that follows author Lee Israel, who, in a desperate attempt to make her rent, discovers she can make quite a lot of money by forging letters from dead celebrities and selling them, which could land her in hot water. Lee is a Sapphic, and I believe there is a minor plot point that involves that. It's a be gay, do crimes kind of situation, so this might be a film I can get behind. Viola Davis is nominated in 2020 for the movie Ma Rainey's Black Bottom, about the famous blues singer of the 1920s, Ma Rainey. Over a single day, we follow her and her band as they prepare for and record a song, with the tensions rising with the white producers who are only interested in extracting what they can from her. Ma Rainey is a Sapphic who has a younger lover we get to meet. However, it looks like this young woman has a roving eye for the upstart and ambitious trumpet player. The same year, Andra Day was nominated for her portrayal of bisexual and musical icon Billie Holiday in the biopic movie that chronicles her career, and in particular the controversy that one of her songs, Strange Fruit, will have, which gets her in trouble with the government because of its human rights messaging that is thought to be too threatening. Unable to arrest her for singing a song, they instead target her for her drug use, which sees her spending a stint in jail. Being a Sapphic, Billie Holiday has affairs with men and women, one of which is actress Tallulah Bankhead, played by our fave Natasha Lyonne. They have a decade-long friendship where part of or all of the time they were lovers. Not sure how much this plays into the overall narrative of the film, but it's definitely there. Penelope Cruz is nominated for the Spanish movie Parallel Mothers in 2021, where she plays a woman, Janice, who has her baby swapped at birth. She keeps the discovery secret. When she runs into the woman who her baby was swapped with, Anna, she learns that her biological daughter died from sudden infant death syndrome, or SIDS. She invites Anna to be a live-in maid, and the relationship turns sexual, and of course there is the issue of whether she should tell her that her daughter is still alive. Cate Blanchett got another Oscar nomination in 2022 for her turn as Lydia Tarr in the film Tar, about a world-renowned conductor working for the Berlin Orchestra who abuses her power by ensuring a young woman she finds attractive makes it into the orchestra and receives special treatment while blacklisting another. She has a wife and child too, and she risks losing it all as the consequence of her actions. Unlike Carol, the Sapphic element is not the primary focus, although it plays significantly into the plot, given she uses her power unduly because of her desire for a woman, but it remains primarily a study in the corruptive forces of power. The film was also nominated for a Best Picture. In the French thriller Anatomy of a Fall, Sandra Hüller is nominated for Best Actress, where she plays a woman who is put on trial after her husband dies from a suspected murder. They had, along with their son, moved to the French Alps where the husband has grown up, and through the trial it is revealed that she was deeply unhappy there and was having affairs. She is also a bisexual, and this becomes one of the elements that is used against her during the trial, along with other factors to try and build a case against her. The same year, Annette Bening gets another nomination with the sport biopic Nyad about Diana Nyad, who swam from Cuba to Florida Keys in her 60s. Diana is a lesbian, as is her friend and coach played by Jodie Foster, and so while there is no romance in the film, it's two awesome Sapphic ladies at the helm in an uplifting film. I really enjoyed this one, thought it was powerful, and so I did a review on this one back when it came out. Fully recommend. 2023 really was the year for Sapphic characters because in addition to Anatomy of a Fall and Nyad, Emma Stone was also nominated for Best Actress for playing Bella Baxter. Bella is an experiment by a mad scientist who revives a newly dead pregnant woman by putting the fetus brain inside her head. With the body of a woman and the brain of a child, she is defenseless against all of the cruelties of the world and ultimately finds herself working in a brothel in France where she has, among her many other affairs, a relationship with a fellow lady of the night, Toinette. The final nomination before we get on to the 5 nominations that won is from a few months ago at the 2025 Oscars for the movie Emilia Perez, when Carla Sofia Gascon was nominated. She plays Emilia, who extricates herself from the mafia by enlisting the help of a lawyer who arranges covert gender-affirming care for her, which not only allows her to live as her authentic self, but also allows her to stage her death and then disappear without a trace. She leaves behind a wife and kids who are relocated to Switzerland for their protection, but things get complicated when, years later, she decides she wants to re-establish contact with her kids. She poses as a rich, distant cousin so that she can meet with them, but it also sets off a dangerous chain of events. Emilia is a Sapphic who, throughout the movie, is exclusively into women, although her sexuality is not explicitly stated. She has her wife, Jessie, who she married after she had already come out to herself as trans, and she also has a romantic attachment with a woman called Epifania during the film. It should also be mentioned that this is a musical. I have heard that it is pretty controversial trans representation, but that is not to take away from the fact that it is a milestone nomination for a Sapphic trans character. Now on to the 5 Oscar nominations for Best Actress that actually won. Nicole Kidman was the first actress to play a Sapphic who actually won in the film The Hours, where she plays Virginia Woolf, the bisexual writer. The film itself follows 3 stories of Sapphic ladies in different time periods who are all linked by Virginia Woolf's book, Mrs. Dalloway. This one also got a nomination for Best Picture, but didn't win. A year later, Charlize Theron was nominated for and won Best Actress for playing real-life female serial killer Aileen Wuornos, a hooker who began killing clients. She's also a lesbian who gets a girlfriend during this time, but with her body count rising and the law closing in, things are not looking good for her. It's a powerful film. Natalie Portman won for her portrayal of Nina in 2010's Black Swan, a ballerina whose grip on reality begins to erode as she struggles to embody both the white and black swan for the ballet Swan Lake when a new girl who could take it all away appears on the scene. What appears to be a rivalry could be something far more sapphic, but Nina isn't sure if their encounter happens or if it's just part of her descent into madness. This film also got a nomination for Best Film. Olivia Colman walked away with a statue too for her portrayal of Queen Anne in the black comedy The Favourite in 2018, where she plays the ailing Queen of England. Sarah Churchill, her longtime friend and lover, has her position as favourite challenged when Sarah's younger cousin secures herself a spot as a lady-in-waiting to the Queen and who vies for her affection. She is not above appealing to Queen Anne's sapphic tendencies either. This movie was also nominated for Best Picture. So phew, it seems that the Oscars love a Sapphic who suffers, although thankfully we've seen that there are 1 or 2 exceptions, of which this final on the list is one. So we have Michelle Yeoh, who walked away with the Golden Statue for playing a Sapphic in the 2022 film Everything Everywhere All at Once, a wide-reaching, high-octane action film that takes its protagonist Evelyn careening through different timelines that explore who she could have been if she had made different decisions. Instead of living above a laundromat with her husband and struggling to accept her daughter is a lesbian. This romp across the multiverse sees one particular life in which she and her tax auditor are in a loving Sapphic relationship, a Sapphic inclination that is clearly buried so deep in Evelyn that it takes her having sausages for fingers in order to unearth and accept this. But hey, that still makes her a Sapphic, and one where she's not crazy, suffering to the extreme, or dead by the end. Of course, you could always check out the playlist on your screen that goes over film and TV with happy endings, because despite what this list will have you believe, there are a decent amount of happy endings out there for ladies who love ladies, and I have been working on a growing list of them. Until next time, lady lovers.